All right, welcome to episode 3. In this episode, we're going to be talking with Chad King about how success is an inside job. Here we go.
Welcome to the episode 3. Now, we are talking today about success and freedom and how those two words, which are buzzwords in the current environment, right? Success,
Big
freedom.
time.
Right, but both very subjective words. Like, what does that mean, right? What does success mean? What does freedom mean? And how are they correlated, right? And we talk a lot about, we're going to talk a lot about the skills required to achieve success, or whatever you define as success, and how that relates to freedom. But as we do that, I just want to hear from you. So how do you define the word success?
It's a great question. Absolute buzzwords. But you know what I would say is, everyone's going to define success differently. Like, what does it mean to them? For me, it is this episode, like success equals freedom. Well, I want to be successful in life. I don't want to be successful just with money. I don't want to be successful just in sports and athletics and being a father and, being a good partner. To me, it's success in life. Well, what does that mean? Okay, so there's really like 4 different pillars for me, because I think that a lot of people can talk about this, but like, what do you really mean? So like, when you peel away the onions, right? Like, what does success actually mean to you? And for me, it's like mind, body, spirit, and business, right? Like, to me, those are the 4 pillars. And if I can find success within those 4 pillars, everything works. Like, everything's in harmony, So, example, spirit, we'll talk a lot about this, but spirituality, we both agree that there is a light, like whether you call it God, universe, whatever that is for all the listeners, there is something. So mind, body, spirit, and business. Spirituality is so important to me, and it should be important to everybody. Again, it doesn't matter what you worship, who you worship, there's an energy, right? Like, there's something that's higher than you. And when that's out of alignment, for me, everything else is out of alignment. Right. So what do I mean by that? It plays into the life success that I'm talking about, right? Because it's easy to label success. Like, if you're an athlete, like you're a pro athlete, well, I'm successful, NFL player, right? If you are, Chad King, you're extraordinarily successful in business, specifically in real estate. So, okay, I'm a success, and then you're going to get to answer the same question. But if I were to ask you that, I would venture to say that real estate wouldn't be your first response, right? So for me, it's success in all 4 pillars, like mind, body, spirit, and business. And going back to the spirit, like, that leads everything, right? Like, I got a tattoo in my arm about spirit. Like, there's a light and a dark spirit within everyone, right? So that's the pillar for me. And then everything else falls suit and is in alignment based on where that is, right? So that's where it starts for me. And I'll talk a little bit about more, but I want to hear from you.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's people talk a lot about work-life balance, right? You hear that a lot. And I hate work-life balance, because it insinuates that you have to give up something to get something else. And it insinuates that when you're working, you're not doing your life. And when you're with your family, you're not working. And like, my wife and I, my wife works with me, and we talk a lot about, it's called work-life harmony. Yeah. Right. So our life is just one fun thing. Like, it's just one ball of like, and we can go from, being at the zoo with our kids to taking a phone call and closing a big deal. And like, it's all happening at the same time. Yep. Like, we're in the middle of the night, like we're doing whatever we want to do. And then, immediately we're talking about money and business and the investments we're making and those kinds of things. And it's just one work-life harmonious thing. So success for me is just, it really is finding that balance where you envision the life that you want, and then you work to design it. And then once you get there, like, it is not a destination. The success is actually in that journey of that designing that life. And what I will tell you from my journey is knowing that, as soon as you feel like you put these goals, I write my goals down a lot. So I love writing things down, right? So, when I look back and I look at the goals I was writing down in like 2017, 2018, like, and I'm starting to hit those goals. Now the goals that I write, they're bigger, right?
Different.
They got bigger zeros on them. They got larger zeros. Now I have 2 kids, right? So those things, as you start to achieve and walk down that path of success, which is that journey towards a life that you design and you create, what you'll realize is that vision for yourself in your life continues to grow.
Yeah.
And your calling that's on your heart, whatever your calling is, right? And that's what's amazing about the human race and amazing about our souls is everybody's individual soul has its own calling when it's here. And I believe that your purpose on this planet is to find what your calling is and then start walking towards it. And as long as you are in alignment with that and walking towards, you're living a successful life.
Yeah.
So, it could be ending human trafficking. It could be, helping children, that don't have fathers. It could be, it's so many number of things. It could be, saving the kids in Africa that just don't have clean drinking water. It could be building houses and schools in Mexico. Like whatever that calling is, like just start walking in that calling and then figure out how to make money work for you, which we're going to talk about in the next episode, which is how do you leverage money and leverage capital to help you walk in that calling so that you're not trading your time for money anymore. So success for me is just, it's continually walking that calling and then continually setting new benchmarks for yourself and new targets so that you continue to move forward and grow, but not, like you said, not leaving any one of the pillars behind. Because if I just start really setting all these crazy targets in real estate and my family life suffers or my marriage suffers, well, then I look back and I've hit these targets, but my marriage is in the dumps. Like that's not successful.
You didn't win.
I didn't win. I lost the game.
Correct.
So it's all the cogs of the wheel working together in this one harmonious life and just moving towards a calling that's on your heart. It's success for me. Yeah, for sure.
It's a great answer. And there's so much truth in that because again, it's not just one thing. It's not just the business, right? It's not just Titan Capital. It's not just being a dad, to two beautiful kids, or being a husband. It's all of it. And same for me. And I want to really help inspire our listeners to keep that in mind, right? Like don't define your success as just one little bucket of life, right? Like everything's got to be in alignment because, and I'll talk about this in a future episode, I believe. But I went through a fully immersive event, right? With a fantastic coaching group out of Austin, Texas, is Wake Up Wealthy. Brody Kern, when you hear this, you'll know that's you. But it was amazing because for me, the title of this one is Success Equals Freedom, right? Well, as a younger entrepreneur at the time, I was after the money, right? I was like, well, once I have this, then I'll be free to do fill in the blank, right? And once I have this in my bank account, then I can allow myself to go after this, like you said, walking in your purpose. Well, I really helped define my purpose in that like fully immersive event. And then I went on to spend 1.5 years with these guys and coaching other clients myself, one-on-one coaching with them, which I would encourage everyone who's listening to do, get coaches, get people in your life that can help you in specific spaces. Right. But my point in saying that is going into that event, it helped me define what success was, because before that, to be honest with you, dude, I was fucking lost. I didn't really know. I knew I was good at these things. I knew I sucked at these, but I didn't know, how do I make the things that I'm good at work for me and for my family? Yeah. Right. Versus well, I'll just accept that I'm not good at that and I'm good at this and see where I land. Right.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head too, is the key here is to define it for yourself, which is what you said you did, because I think a big problem is people see these successful individuals, whoever it is you follow, that you tend to put on a pedestal, although they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. Yeah. But they see these people and they think that they want that, and that's what success is for them. And I will be happy when I get there, and that's what I want. And they model their vision of their success after this person's, and that's a death trap. Yeah. That's a trap for unhappiness right there. Yeah. So you have to define it for yourself. And if you make that mistake, what you'll find is you're going to lose motivation on a daily basis, which you're losing motivation on a daily basis because that doesn't feel, it's not your calling. It's somebody else's that you've thought mistakenly thought that was yours. So you really have to spend some introspective time, and I think a lot of people, you need to meditate or whatever it is for you, take walks, think, have time for yourself. Isolation, and a lot of people get wary about isolation, but isolation is a gift. Yeah. For you to be able to go out and be on your own and just think, whatever it is you feel called to do, however the light or whatever it is talks to you, you have to go be by yourself and answer some tough questions, and that's not easy for people to do. And a lot of people don't set aside the time to do that and then define it for themselves, because that is what's going to allow you to feel that pull out of bed in the morning to where you're excited to get up because it's a success is something that you've created in your mind for yourself that you've now defined and you're not taking somebody else's.
Yeah, man. So one thing that you touched on, well, so two things. One really quick, just for all the listeners, people that enjoy success in life, they take notes. Right. So like in the coaching that I've done, I'll panel the room, right? And I'll see people that are writing things down, right? And I'm like, that person's going to achieve success. And whatever it is that they're after, they'll hit it. They'll hit the mark and then they'll exceed the mark, right? And so I'm making notes as you're talking because like, even though we know each other like extremely well, like I'm like, oh, that's a good fucking point. My point is for the listeners, take notes.
Yeah.
Right. If someone tells you something, you're like, oh, that's a piece that I've been missing for. Like, that's a nugget. Right. I listen to Broke to Woke podcast, amazing people.
Yeah.
I've filled notebooks
100%.
with their content that has literally changed my life. It's literally changed the way that I look at certain situations, how I make decisions, how I respond to my partner. Like, write stuff down.
Yeah.
And you will see success.
Yeah, a lot of people think they're going to remember. There's so many inputs. I mean, you have, 70,000 thoughts a day or some crazy number like that. To think that you're going to remember all these things. And when you write it down, it becomes real. So the actual act of writing has a subconscious plant and puts it in the back of your mind. So I couldn't agree more. You have to write things down for sure. And, we talk about managing your inputs. He talked about the podcast that you're listening to. We talked about coaches. So I have 7 coaches. 7 coaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to spend, my wife and I will spend over 6 figures this year just on coaching and personal development for ourselves.
Yeah.
Events, masterminds, things like that for ourselves. And we own a mastermind that we charge money for.
Yeah.
But I'm also, spending a lot of money on myself and personal development because ultimately this is the biggest asset. And I'm pointing to myself right here.
Sure.
So your body, your mind is the number one asset that you should be investing in first. We raise money for a lot of our deals, right? And we have people that come to us and they're like, hey, I got $10,000, like I want to invest. And, it's the last $10,000. I'm like, you're not investing in this deal. Like you need to go invest that $10,000 and go hire a coach, hire a mentor, go to a course, start a course, do a seminar, something, right? And make that 10,000, 100,000 and then come talk to me because, you have to invest first in yourself to go gain more skills so that you can go out and command more income.
Yeah.
So then you can come back and then start to make your income work for you. And that's ultimately the path we talk about freedom, but there's a lot of types of freedom. That's ultimately the path to financial freedom.
Yeah.
Is doubling down on yourself first so that you then have all the skills to go out and create businesses and streams of income, whether it's an entrepreneur or entrepreneur, you create these streams of income that now you have an overflow of money. So then you can start to buy these assets that create income, whether it's businesses or things like that you want to invest in that create income so that ultimately like your bills are paid for by passive income so that you can fill up your other buckets in your life and you can travel with your family and create this harmonious life that we talk about. Because if you are a slave to the paycheck, it's very difficult, right? And in the world we're in right now, they're making it more difficult. They're printing away your savings, right? They're printing those savings away like freaking nothing. They're laundering money like hand over fist. And we've seen this. This is not something that's just happening now. This has been going on for decades. Right. This is going back and because of social media now information is able to travel very, very fast. And the narrative that they've attempted to control through the manipulation of social media, which has been very clear if you guys can't ignore it anymore. Right. Elon Musk kind of pulled back the curtain on what's actually going on with the fake accounts and all that kind of stuff. But you peel that back and you realize that, this narrative that's been created, social media has allowed information to travel at such a speed that it's actually gotten out of hand. And now we can communicate and realize, oh my God, this has actually been going on for a long time. This money laundering and printing away your savings. I mean, the debt that the country is in, and they're just piling it on with no plan no way out essentially, except to just burn the boats. It's kind of an intentional destruction of America is what's going on. Right. And, it's been going on for a while and it's just a few really, really wealthy families, really, really wealthy people. When people say they, they talk about they, who is they, right? Because clearly Joe Biden's not the president.
Right.
Everybody understands that. There's more powers at play here. So they are just laundering massive amounts of money and printing away your savings. So if you don't achieve success and freedom and financial freedom at a rate greater than what they're printing it away at, you will be a slave for the rest of your life.
Bingo. So I want to go back to something real quick on that. Great point. When you said that you and your wife have invested like multiple six figures in your own coaching, right? So what does that mean, right? So you've literally paid people to help educate you, to teach you, to coach you. And, a lot of coaching is holding people accountable, right? Like it's opening their minds to something and then holding them accountable. And that's what I do in my coaching business. I open their mind to a different school of thought, right? Like much like this podcast, all right? Challenge them with some really good questions and then ask them what they're after. Then are you willing to invest in yourself? Because until then, nothing that you're after will you ever make. Like whether it's the money, whether it's the family, whether it's being a good leader within your home, whether it's, making yourself physically fit, mentally fit, like all of those things can be taught by someone who has learned the path before you, but then you have to invest in it. So let's go back to your six figures. Okay, Chad. So what if you're the person we talked about in the previous episode? What if you have let's say 9 to 5, right? And you're like, yeah, I hear this guy Chad and this other guy Houston, and they're talking about 6-figure coaching investments, but like, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
Right. So those are limiting belief. Got it. But we'll talk about that in another episode. But what would you say to that person who's like, there's clearly like I want something more, right? Like I need to level up in this space of my life, but I don't have 6 figures.
Sure.
Coaching. Who does that? What would you say to that person?
Oh my gosh. So everything you want to know is in a book.
Yeah.
Everything you want to know is on a free YouTube channel. Like everything you want to know is on a free podcast, like to get started. Right. And there is enough information out there to get some money in the bank. And then ultimately, like when you have that money in the bank after you've gotten started, then you can invest and double down and accelerate much faster with, paid coaching, and definitely vet your coaches, vet your mentors. Yeah. I'm big on not having too many inputs. I think that a lot of people make the mistake of like getting information from too many sources, and it almost like just, they sort of just go in circles because they're listening to like 35 different, they're listening to Gary Vee and Andy Frisella and Ed Milet and
Cardone,
Alex Hormozi, Grant Cardone. And, and those guys are amazing, but you need to find one or two people that really resonate with you.
Totally.
And just focus on that input and go hard. And I will say the other thing too is once you do that, and you start with the free info, you start with the free content, and there's a lot out there. I think the thing that people miss, even when it comes to invested coaching, and I see this in my mastermind, which is a $20,000 mastermind. I think it's 25 now, $25,000 mastermind.
Yeah.
People pay that and they think that it's just going to get done for them. Now, whether it's free or paid, the missing link that I think keeps a lot of people below that threshold, and the reason there's such a big gap between the haves and the have-nots, is the hard work and the discipline that comes after.
Bingo.
It's the hard work and the discipline.
Yes. So there's two people, Chad, that in my experience attend these events, like that mastermind of yours, right? There's two people. There are the people out there that are kind of floating, and they go to these conferences, they go to this mastermind. They might even invest in some coaching because they think the person that they're listening to or getting coaching from is super cool. They've achieved all the stuff they want to achieve, and they trick themselves into thinking like, by just putting myself in contact with these people, then by proxy, I'm also going to achieve the same thing, right? But it's almost like they get this high off of attending the event, but they're not chopping the wood. What do I mean by that? They're not putting in the work. They're not putting in the, like, I said before, rinse and repeat. Like, what do you have that you can do? Other people say it's called taking out the water, right? It's boring work, but it's the work. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to pay Houston 10 grand to show me how to show up more powerfully in my home. Yeah. Like, you've got to invest in the work, right? 100%. Like, you've got to do the work. And I think that there's so many people that are getting caught now in that phase of like, I attend to this thing and I'm not a millionaire yet. That didn't work. Yeah. I'll go to the next.
And they chase those shiny red balls.
And then they're still in the same place 5 years from now.
Yeah, we call them seminar junkies.
Correct.
So they just move from seminar to seminar, industry to industry, vertical to vertical, just thinking that they're doing something wrong, when in reality they just haven't doubled down and like put their head down for 90 days, 6 months. Focus. I mean, put your head down and work. People try something for a week and they're like, that didn't work. They try it for a month. Like, that didn't work. Well, people are making money in crypto. Like, let me go over there and see what that's about. Well, 30 days later, crypto crashed. That didn't work. Yeah. Let me try this.
So what's not working is actually you, right? And we'll talk about this another time. Success is an inside job.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Ooh.
There's a lot to that.
And on this, so we're going to roll right into, how to make your money matter and the importance of money and how it works.
Yeah.
So we'll dive deep a little bit on, interest rates and how you have to, be able to make your returns greater at what they're borrowed against and things like that. I really want to dive deep into the money aspect of it, because once you understand the game, you can play it.
Right. Absolutely. You can win.
Oh yeah. We're going to talk about winning big in the game of money.
Let's do it.